and watch and be off this page.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I'm trying to, yeah, that's why I'm trying to save it. What's up, everybody? We're live again. And I'm here with the one and only Juan Galt. I told him, if you haven't seen it yet, I posted it on, I shared it in my community. We'll talk a little bit about what just happened about 45 minutes ago, but I wanted to say that what we're looking at here is a tax guru. Let me see if I can share it so that you can see it. One, and then hopefully sound may not be available. Oh shit. How about this? Let me know if you can see anything, or is it just a black screen?
I can see it.
Okay.
Partner now, yes, you can stop.
And you can hear it.
Following those.
Yeah.
Okay. So
partnership in California also.
This is a tax
what you want to do, my friend, is
protester guru
doing it for
that Juan Galt posted a video about earlier. Earlier today or yesterday. I know I shared it recently. And he does a good job of breaking down most of the standard tax protester lines.
Rental property and S corp. Obviously, you can afford the 1 hour consultation for $300.
Oh my God! Well, let's listen in on how much
he's services.
How much he's charging people.
So you're the kind of person who understands that professionals, plumbers, electricians, lawyer, dentists get paid, right? And get paid well too.
Yeah. By the way, guys, he is live right now. We are watching a live stream that he's doing right now on YouTube. His channel is Freedom Law School.
And yes, and the general partner is your trust, not more complexity. Every time I answer one question, more questions arise. What do you mean, my trust? The general partner is my trust. Well, who is the manager? Who is the beneficiary? Basically, the answer to all this stuff is no. Okay, none of these entities have to file and pay income tax because they're not based upon in Washington, D.C. If they're Washington, D.C. trusts, corporations, or partnerships, all this stuff, then the federal income tax laws would apply to them. But if it's not from Washington, D.C., these entities, the Internal Revenue Code does not apply to your entities at all.
And that's the biggest thing that he likes to hammer down, right?
All
That's
right,
his main selling point.
You go spend time with the family. Hope you do the same.
He's finishing.
Next.
He ended it. But I wanted to pause it real quick. Oh wait, let's go here, because you pointed this out too, that a lot of these tax protester gurus, that whenever they have these videos, they like to stand in front of, law books and to make them seem so more legitimate, right?
Oh yeah, right.
But I remember watching some of his videos, and if you look very closely, a lot of what you see here you do see California practice, civil practice, but you see Black's Law Dictionary right here, a classic, a standard in any sovereign citizen's library. More copies of Black's Law up here, Blackstone's commentaries. But you also see this and this. These plaques. I feel like he is putting these plaques there to make it seem like they're his law degrees. But if you look closely, they're from Freedom Law School, which is his own organization.
Yeah, it's all about the presentation and the image.
Oh yeah, because you see a true American freedom fighter right here, and then this is from Freedom Law School. So, and again, he's presenting himself as a legal guru when selling his stuff. But I'm gonna crack open the beer I got, which was the whole point of this pause. And you. Tell the audience what you told me about how you actually had you knew of him, or you had a common acquaintance at one point. But I'll be right back and get it.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I was involved with the income tax protest movement that was around in the early 70s. And I had a group about an association of, we call ourselves the Taxpayer Education Association, TEA or T, and for Tea Party. And I had about 5,000 members over 3 states. And when I found out what I was preaching about was bullshit, I got out of the deal. And the people who happened to own the quote unquote bank, because what we would do is they would cash people's checks, pay their bills for them, and give them the rest either in money or silver. And in that way, their income and expenditures to some degree were hidden. So that guy who had that institution took over my group. And this gentleman here met up with him and has pretty much adopted, not particularly my group, but the whole concept of what we used to do back then. And I only happened to run into that and see that because one of his old videos on his YouTube channel has this associate of mine speaking at one of his seminars. So I found that real interesting. And I've had several discussions with this guy and have totally debunked his position. But he's in it for the dough, Artie. He's in it for the dough.
And that's something that you mentioned. Sorry, you mentioned this. I'm gonna cut my throat. You mentioned in the video that what he's charging, and I think you, if not already, you said like the max, his top tier executive level is $9,000 a year, and then $4,500 every year afterwards. Which,
yeah, and he will even finance it for you.
Oh well, I appreciate that. What a great guy. So
$375 a month or something like that, I think it is.
Yeah, so must be nice. $9,000 for a bunch of BS. Well, the thing is that, and I know you said you found it, but I was able to find his own tax court challenge in the U.S. tax court. The one I was able to find that was pretty expansive was in 2014, where both he and his wife were hooked up for delinquency and paying taxes. For
about 5 years, I think.
Yeah, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, and 2006. So about 7 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 7 years of not paying taxes. And the funny part is the earnings were from their Freedom Law School BS. So they weren't paying their taxes on their earnings from their Freedom Law School packages, which apparently they increased the prices back then. According to this, their top tier package was $6,000. So they've increased their prices since then. Must be adjusting for inflation.
Well, they moved from California to Florida, so I don't know why they'd need more money. There's no state income tax in Florida.
Indeed. So, the Montejetas did not appear at the meeting scheduled for 9 a.m. April 28th, 2008. The agent sent a request for his business activities. Basically, they were just like not playing ball. They were avoiding working with the agent. Excuse me. And none of their BS really worked. But here it is. We find that sufficient evidence links payment Montejeta. I'm going to pronounce it like that from here on out. I don't care. To the income-producing activities of the Freedom Law School and the practice before the California Franchise Tax Board, we first considered the Freedom Law School. They stipulated that he is the president and founder of Freedom Law School and that he was the president of Freedom Law School continuously during the years at issue. The documentary evidence connects him to the Freedom Law School. Testimonials. So basically, they're establishing that he was running a business during these years, and he was earning an income through this Freedom Law School. The only thing I find interesting is that they really didn't talk about how they were running a tax protester school and didn't seem to do anything or mention about stopping what they were doing. But I guess that was for another day. The only focus was them not paying their taxes. But ultimately, they did not play ball, and they hooked them up for delinquency and taxes, and it's just proof positive that that for a guy who's trying to sell the idea that I can help you not have to file taxes, or I can prove that if you pay me this money, you'll never need to be paying income taxes again. They couldn't even figure that out themselves. So
few gurus have ever gone through the fire that they're selling other people to go through.
That is true.
I can guarantee you that, because first of all, they're not working for an employer somewhere where everything is taken out of their paycheck and can easily be levied. So they pretty much stay, like you say, they went 7 years before they got caught. They can kind of stay judgment proof, but where the average Joe that he's selling this stuff to doesn't have that luxury and can, lose everything.
Yeah. And so that's also fair. Like, they don't, most of these gurus, they never walk the walk. Most of the time, they just sell their packages, and they never go through the consequences of whenever their bullshit doesn't work on themselves. So
yeah, and Mark Steven is a perfect example of that. He had no proof, no evidence that he had ever gone to court, used his bullshit, and was successful. Didn't have one.
Oh yeah. He's an easy example of it. I would say Carl Lentz is an example of somebody who did walk the walk and failed miserably. So I'll give him that. But David Wynn Miller, I've seen a lot of his filings, so he at least has tried to file stuff on his own or tried to represent people on their own. But yeah, I would say Mark Stevens, I have yet to see anything of him or he personally tried to implement his BS. So it is a rare thing to see the gurus practice what they preach.
And those that have like a Carl Lentz or anyone else that has tried it and failed, the excuse is it's a corrupt system. And what gets me is if they are convinced of that and try to tell people that in essence to me is telling them, well, God, don't do it because you can't win. But other people don't look at it that way. I don't understand how they make that connection.
I mean, if they're going in and they say like, oh, you're right. What's the point? Why injure yourself if you believe that they're corrupt anyway and you're never going to win? Why go through the heartache and the headache of dealing with extra fines or extra jail time because you decided to try this out yourself?
I mean, they've got, like, for instance, Carl Lentz to look at. But here, this Freedom Unchained guy, he's going into that stuff now. I just noticed today.
Oh God, I did tell myself to ignore whatever the hell he's saying these days, because he's too far gone.
Yeah, but his mental state is what these people like Carl Lentz rely on, and that accept them given their own personal failures that they can see Carl Lentz went through.
Yeah.
And yet he says, use this, do this, and they buy it. I like I say, I don't know how they make that connection.
No, I agree. It's just like that's the sad part, because you can even show them like, hey, dude, your buddy, Carl, the guy that you're relying on, that as being the arbiter of what really is the methodology of the courts and how they truly operate, he himself tried this out using his own filings and the court threw it out as a bunch of BS. But now you're just saying, and the fact that if you're saying that the fact that it didn't work it's just proof of the corruption, then what's the point? Why go through this at all? Why not even try it in the more legitimate way? Because at least then you might even have a modicum of a chance of winning.
And yet, all of that, they ignore all those facts, all that reality, for some apparent reason that I can't figure out.
No, I don't think we'll ever figure it out. So he just finished his thing, which I thought was pretty funny. But we can actually go ahead and watch your latest, and I'll link it into the chat so you guys can check them out. Guys, if you haven't checked out Juan Galt's channel, please do so. God damn it! Fucking jump scare!
I'm not as prolific as Artie is, but I try to keep my focus on pseudo lawyers, and I also run a big ranch, so springtime, summertime, I'm pretty busy.
Damn. Well, I mean, yeah. What was it? I lost track of thought. There he is. There you go. Thank you, Cat Attack. $10. You deserve this for putting up with that bull. I deserve to get jump scared for putting up with that BS. Thank you. I appreciate that. Gosh. Kidding. Thank you very much for the tip.
Okay. We're going to see a different type of sovereign citizen. He wouldn't call himself a sovereign citizen. Actually, I think he fancies himself some type of legal expert, especially on the issue of income tax. And his position is that the income tax does not apply to anybody who's living in the 50 states. The only people that have to apply, the income tax applies to, are those people who live in D.C., Washington, D.C., or some other federal territory, Puerto Rico or Guam, places like that. And that the only people that earn money that have to pay income tax on are people who are in the employment of the government. Now that's his position. He thinks a U.S. citizen means that a U.S. citizen is only found in those places, D.C. and these federal areas. And that a trade or business that the income tax talks about is a government job, something where you're getting paid from the government. So that's his position. He'll go through the statutes and court cases, and he'll manipulate them and cherry pick them to the point to where he makes an argument and shows without a doubt that most people don't owe the income tax. So let's get started.
Oh my God.
Required by law to file and pay U.S. income taxes? I will answer that question for you definitively tonight. My name is Payman Motahede. I'm the founder and president of Freedom Law School.
Freedom Law School, is that you? Oh my God, we have Freedom Law School in the chat. Oh. Juan, you there? Juan. Uh-oh. Is Juan Galt AFK? He should be here still. Uh-oh. Well, I'll bring you in, Payman. No, Payman, come on, man. Do it. You know I don't censor people. Everybody knows I don't censor. Here you go, man. Come on my Discord. That's where we're talking. Let me know when you're in, buddy. Juan Galt, what's up? Are you here? Can you hear me? You can hear, but you can't join voice chat. You're not muted or anything like that. Can you try disconnecting and reconnecting to the voice channel, maybe? All right, Paymon, you can come into the voice chat when you can. Juan, if you're saying anything, I can't hear you just yet, man. All right, Paymon,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Juan, I can hear you just now.
All right, I'm here.
All right, perfect. Paymon, are you here? Here, let me invite you in if you can't. Oh, there we go. Maybe that's him.
Is he coming through Discord?
Yeah, he just joined in my Discord right quick. Paymon, you should be able to join in the stream chat now if you can, if you're still watching on the live stream. Well, so far we're not hearing you. Like I said, you can just join in right now whenever you can. We don't have we are still watching. We don't have a Discord set up. I mean, I see two accounts named Paymon join in with us. Juan, I thought you said you talked to him on Discord before, right?
Yeah, in a different server.
Yeah, so I don't know why he's not using that same account. I don't know why he needs to make a new account.
Yeah, he set up that Discord account that day, just minutes before we talked.
Huh. Giving you an error message at the moment. Oh, wait. Oh, my bad. Well, all right. You know what? While Paymon, you get yourself situated, we'll go ahead and play the video in the meantime. We'll stop whenever you're able to come in, Payman. So we'll be waiting for you.
Which I found in 1996, educating American people about the U.S. Constitution, law, IRS, and your rights, and how to live free.
Now this is kind of pompous, if you will. His website is called Freedom Law School, and his YouTube channel is called Freedom Law School. He fancies himself an attorney, as you can tell. Well, let's continue.
We're going to go down to the Internal Revenue Code 1040 booklet, their instructions, and the laws published by Congress, regulations of the IRS and Supreme Court to get the clear answer what the government says. So folks, here we're going to start. IRS.gov is where we want to start from. The IRS's website. That Form 1040 is used by U.S. taxpayers to file an annual income tax return. Now we go further and see the 1040 U.S. individual income tax return form for 2020, and we see the term U.S. Pay attention to the word U.S. And here's a 1040 instructions form for 2020, right? And we go down here on page 8 of instructions, and it says about filing requirements that these rules apply to all U.S. citizens regardless of where they live and resident aliens. Well, to find out.
Now, a normal average person, how do you think they would interpret that? It's pretty clear. It applies to all U.S. citizens. Now, I think even my grandkids knows what a U.S. citizen is.
What these things are, let's go down to the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations, the interpretation of the law by the U.S. Treasury Department and the IRS. And we're going to go on to Regulation 1.1-1, which is income tax on individuals. And it says that Section 1 of the Internal Revenue Code, the tax laws, imposes an income tax on the income of every individual who is a citizen or resident of United States.
Now, like I said, what does the average person interpret that to mean? I mean, it's really obvious. Without coming up with some magical words or some convoluted theory, that is very simple, and laws are very simple and easy to understand.
Key term.
And I think that's what Juan, that's what it comes down to. When you look at what the law says, it's fairly obvious. It's fairly apparent to anybody what they're saying and who to whom the tax code is applicable to. But folks like Payman require you to buy into a far more convoluted interpretation of the tax code.
Yeah, without the convolution of it, they got nothing.
Term, and to the extent provided by section.
Well, real quick, which is ironic because they always talk about how, our profession is all about the legalese and being convoluted and hard to understand, what the law actually says, when in reality, it's usually the sovereign citizens or the tax protesters who love to obscure the meaning of terms that are to everybody else is simple to figure out.
Yeah, they think they're emulating attorneys. I really do believe that's what they think they're doing, and they don't understand that that's the old void for vagueness rule. That if it's void, I mean, if it's vague, you can't really understand what the hell they're talking about. It's void.
871 or 877B of the income of a non-resident alien individual. Okay, let's go down a little further, and to B, right? And in this regulation, B says citizens or residents of the United States liable to tax. In general, all citizens of the United States. That's a key.
See, he's going to point out that he's making a big deal about United States. That's a key thing. That's what he's going to convolute for his victims.
Term, United States again, right? Wherever resident, wherever they may live, and all resident alien individuals, okay, are liable to the income tax imposed by the code, whether the income is received from sources within or without the United States. Well, we keep hearing the word United States. We have to go in the Internal Revenue Code and see what definition of it is. Here is the actual physical Internal Revenue Code, the federal tax laws as published by Congress.
I swear to God, he had to have bought it from a law student who finished his income tax semester. Because that's how my copy of the tax code looked at the end of the day.
Mine was a little bit smaller, but that's the way it looked.
I mean, mine was that thick, and it had all those colored tabs all over the place and highlights everywhere. And I do not want to be reminded of learning the income tax.
Sure. Shows you how far it's grown in size since 40 years ago.
That's for sure. Payman, I see that you're in the Discord. You can actually just click on the channel that says stream chat, and you should be able to join in right immediately. It shouldn't be inaccessible for you. You could just click on stream chat, and you should be there instantaneously on the left-hand side. I have the sound turned off, so when somebody joins in, so I'll have you here on the side if I see you join in. But yeah, you can just click the link that says stream chat. That's where myself and Juan and Crispy Dills are located, and you should be able to join immediately.
Tissue paper, thin paper, folks.
I always find it hilarious that internet pseudo lawyers, they always bring out law books or code books to make it like, for some reason, that's a big deal. I have the book, therefore I'm knowledgeable. Rarely is that the case, and it's not the case here.
We're going to look up exactly what these key definitions mean and say. So here we go. I already looked up for you on the federal tax law 26, category 26 of section 7701, definitions of the hearing.
Okay, payment. All right, I'm gonna all right, I'm gonna put the link again. I'm gonna create an invite link to where the voice chat is located. Oh, by the way, Pocket Watching with JT. I'm gonna get to you guys the super chats in a second. But Pocket Watching with JT. What the fuck? Oh my God! Real quick. Kick with the Kick with a $240.57 donation. Weird Square now. Artie Senpai. Hashtag Google Crew. And that shows your bar card, you European Albion. I mean, I'm an immigrant according to them, but thank you very much, Kick, for that. It's just our share. Anyway. Pocket Watching with JT, dude, if you want to join in, I would love to have you because you're an accountant, man. That'd be awesome. $5, but yes, I'm gonna create another link into the chat that you could see in the live stream gaming general chat that's there, and the link is there that you can join in on the voice chat. Oh, hey, there we go. I think we have you. Freedom Law School, is that you, Payman?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Hey, good to see you.
Me.
So, welcome, and big fan, but I do have that Juan had recently uploaded a video talking about you, and you said that you wanted to come in and to refute what Juan Galt said in his video, I assume. So if that's the case, I mean, I'll let you have the first word, and we'll go from there.
but I don't see him play. See? 'Cause, I did it. Okay, now.
Payman?
Yes.
Here,
yes.
The floor is yours. Yeah, if you want to respond directly to Juan, he's here in the voice chat.
Well, let's watch my video. Let's allow Juan to say whatever he wants to say, just like we do in the court of law. One side gets to say what they want to say, and then I get to rebut Juan. Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you see the the video? You could just click on, where it says I'm live on my name. You could just click that and you'll be able to see what we're seeing, which is the video that Juan uploaded.
Let me put my IT guy because I'm still having some problems, and then we can. Because.
What's the problem? They can't hear you?
No, I can hear you. We can all hear you. I'm just trying to make sure that.
But delay though.
That's because you're watching the live stream.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
You want to listen through here?
I'm sharing the video on Discord so that you can see it in real time.
Can you hear him?
Okay, I hear your mouth moving but not matching what you're saying.
It's because you're watching the live.
So do I have to watch it someplace else? Am I trying to get my IT guy to help me because I'm not
Discord.
Very good at this.
It's much better to watch this on Discord because you're getting more of a real time.
On Discord, can we watch on Discord? So I can close YouTube then.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna pause YouTube and see if you can bring it on YouTube. Okay, we just close YouTube altogether. Oh, now we're watching on Discord. Okay. All right, I think. Let's see. All right, go ahead and talk. Do you hear me live? Okay. Let me see if I can hear you live.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He says testing. Do you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you too. Okay, very good. I think we're okay.
Okay, so now that we got that real time, can you see what I'm seeing, which is the Juan Galt's video? I'm sharing it on Discord, so you see the USC 7701 pause right there.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, now we're going to press play, and then we could do what you said, and we'll respond.
Okay.
Here we go, folks, from the Internal Revenue Code, Chapter 79 on definitions. So as we go down further, what it tells us here that when used in this title, what title? The Internal Revenue Code right here in this book, okay? That's what it's talking about, okay? In this title, they define all these various terms, okay? Like we're going to go jump down.
Okay, let's go back for just a second here. You say where it says, where not otherwise distinctly expressed. So these definitions are used in this title, but not where it's otherwise distinctly expressed. In other words, there'll be some other definitions, possibly in other sections of this Internal Revenue Code.
Okay, so that was what Juan Galt said in response to your video. Do you have a response to what Juan Galt said?
I agree with him in that part. In that there are, as I will show you later on if you want me to, other chapters or sub-chapters of the IRS code, Internal Revenue Code, that do have their own unique definitions that apply to those specific chapters or sub-chapters. And in fact, I use those to show people like Juan that the entire Internal Revenue Code, the definitions of 7701 are controlling unless specifically in those chapters or sub-chapters some other specific definitions show otherwise. So continue. We agree on this part. And I will show that to you later on. That's the case.
Okay. Juan, anything? Or we can just move...
No, you can go ahead.
All right.
All these various terms. Okay, like we're going to go jump down to term United States. In A9, United States, the term United States when used in a geographical sense, the only sense that we care to know what is the geography of the United States that keep being mentioned, right?
Now, here again, the average person, adult, who has good mental faculties knows where and what is the geographical area of the United States. That's going to be something else he's going to convolute here, so let's get going.
Right? It includes only the states and the District of Columbia.
Now, that's pretty self-explanatory for the average person. Includes only the states, and what are there? There's 50 of them, right? And the District of Columbia. That's the geographical area of the United States. That's pretty simple. And how he can make it so convoluted is amazing, and that people buy it.
And when we go down and look at the word state, it shall be construed to include the District of Columbia, where such construction is necessary to carry out the provisions of this title. So again, United States and state are both Washington, D.C.
Okay, so I'm going to have to stop right there and say, how do you square that circle, and why would you believe that the tax code would include such a redundancy in there?
Redundancy, if it's there, it's there. I can tell you this, I can show you way back in 1913, the definition of United States and state included Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Guam, and even Philippines. And over the decades, as those territories of the United States became independent countries or states, they were taken out. But I don't know how can I show you these things through this. My screen sharing perhaps, I can provide the proof to you of that further. But let's watch the rest of my presentation, because the rest of this presentation itself makes the case clear, although I can have more further proof as you want. I'm sorry, I was referred to your show by somebody on my YouTube channel, and I do not know the name of our host.
Oh,
what's your name, sir?
You can call me Artie. The name of my channel is Artie's Corporate Fiction, but you can call me Artie. I'm an attorney licensed in New York and New Jersey. So.
Very good. Thank you, Artie. So I can refer
Sure.
to that.
Of
But
course.
that was good. I mean, the legal citations we can all read. It's all plain English language. I don't claim to be an attorney. I'm a self-taught person. I just read the law. The words are written in English and are published on government's own websites for all of us to follow. Okay. And I think everybody should not believe me, Juan, or anybody else. They should read the law from government's own official websites, from original sources, and apply them as exactly written. So let the presentation go through. One can say what he wants to say, and I'll address it further. Because it's not done. This is just a warm-up. This is just a warm-up, because right now, it's not very clear. The proof.
Okay.
But the proof is coming further, and I can provide more true proof as you want. By the way, can I share a screen with you later on or not?
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah.
that
You
possible?
can. Yes, you can share. You can share your screen. Yes, of course. Absolutely.
On
Here.
I'll-
You do it on Discord. You can share your screen. And that'll
Okay, I'll see if I can fix it. Find out how to do that later on. Okay, continue. I can figure out how I can do that later on.
All right, no
Okay.
problem.
What? You see, there it is. That his interpretation and reading of this is that it's only Washington, D.C. is the only United States. Believe it or not. Let's go back just for a second. I'll show you how silly this is. You see, it says the term United States, when used in a geographical sense, includes only the states and the District of Columbia. And then underneath that is the term state shall be construed to include the District of Columbia, where such construction is necessary to carry out provisions of this title. So if in fact the term state meant District of Columbia, right above this, that would read to mean the term United States, when used in the geographical sense, includes only the District of Columbia and the District of Columbia. Now see how ridiculous and foolish that is? And people actually believe it and buy into it.
The District of Columbia, where such construction is necessary to carry out the provisions of this title. So again, United States and state are both Washington, D.C. Yes, my friends, that's what the law clearly shows. Another term to define is trade or business, which includes, believe it or not, the performance of functions of public office.
Okay. You see, if you're noticing, he is interpreting the term includes to exclude everything else. And so this definition of trade or business is limited to, that's the way he looks at includes, is limited to the performance of a function of a public office or a government employee. Let's continue.
Not someone doing a contractor business of your own in any shape or form. It's not about you. And the law that about imposition of tax, okay, 871B1 on non-resident alien individuals, is those who are engaged in a trade or business, federal government work within the United States during a taxable year, folks. These are the people that got to pay the federal income tax. Shall be taxable as provided in section 155 on his taxable income, which is effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States, which effectively conduct with the conduct of performing functions of federal public office. These are key definitions, folks. We got to go by them, my friends, okay? It's critical that we go by the definitions. He is Meese versus Keene, U.S. Supreme Court case 1987. We go down.
I was going to pause, but I want to wait until after you provide this citation.
It tells us it is axiomatic, obvious, self-evident that the statutory definition of his term excludes unstated meanings of that term.
Well, what he's doing here, he's cherry picking. He found one sentence that can back up his narrative. And this case had nothing to do with income tax. So this statement is being made in light of the issues in this case. And the issues in this case was about political propaganda. It had nothing to do with the income tax. Let's continue.
Okay, so I would assume that you would reference that as a justification for how you interpret the usage of includes when talking about the definition of a trade or business. So how do you respond to Juan Galt saying that you simply cherry-picked a line from a court decision that had nothing to do with interpreting the income tax code?
Well, Artie, first of all, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be on this discussion.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to invite Juan to please refrain from ad hominem attacks, from character assassinations and the like. And he claims to have been a retired, 30, 40 plus years of attorney, and he wouldn't talk to them like that in a court of law. So I would like to invite Juan to speak respectfully and speak to the facts only, and refrain from character assassinations and qualifications of my character or my argument. Let's just go to what the words are. So one of the main arguments that Juan makes is that, this is not a tax case, so it doesn't apply. Well, there are principles of law that apply, period. Okay? And one of the well-known established rules is that the legislature can define things any way they want in any kind of law. When it comes to defining what's mail or mail fraud, what is a terrorist, what is a terrorist state, what is a financial transaction that's covered by this law, tax law, or what kind of an endangered animal is covered in the definition of the word cat or dog. Hyena, people think it's a dog, but biologists call it it's actually a cat, they say. Well, okay, at the end, Congress has that authority, the Supreme Court says, to define terms any way they want. And there is no tax exception to this. See, Mr. Juan wants to believe that, if the case is not a tax law, it doesn't apply. Really? I mean, are you telling me, Juan, that Congress does not have the authority to define things the way they want, as the Supreme Court says? Let's continue finishing.
Well,
this
let me
quote
answer your
right
question. If
here.
you're going to ask me a question, give me time to answer.
Sure. Like, may I allow this court case, the relevant language to be said, so you can properly refute the Supreme Court quote here? Is that fair?
Well, what's your problem you're having here, Payman, is this statement is made in light of the fact circumstances of the case. The fact circumstances of the case was defining or what meant political propaganda. And there was some discussion about what it is. And the court said, well, and it's looking at this particular instance, that if it doesn't say it, then it's excluded. That doesn't mean that it applies everywhere. That's my point I'm trying to make.
Okay. May I respond to that?
Sure.
First of all, I have read this case also, and I agree with you. This case is about definition of the term political propaganda. That is true. Now, again, the bottom line is that just because this is a principle of law that the Supreme Court is stating. So are you telling me that when it comes to tax law, Congress does not have the authority to make specific definition of terms if they choose to? Of course you would not say that. That's all I'm saying, is that Congress has the authority, and I think you don't want to question that, to define things as specifically, as broadly as they want. So we have to go, but the words of the statute is all this case says. Let's read on and see if that's cherry picking.
I agree with you. Well, let me think, Payman. I agree with you. I think we're having a disconnect as to what the disagreement is here. We're not. I don't think Juan and I would say that Congress does not have the authority to define terms as it sees fit, with respect to certain terms in the tax code. The issue is you are interpreting the word includes. When it comes to trade or business, you are interpreting the word includes as to be excluding all other forms of effort of work that would be defined as a trade or business. You are saying that the Congress's definition of trade or business only means public officials, when the way we would interpret it is that trade or business includes federal workers or performance of their public officials in the performance of their duties, in addition to how we normally would define a trade or business, as in a retail business, as a mom and pop shop, etc. We would say that Congress is saying that they're adding to the normal, everyday understanding of the definition of trade or business. They are not redefining trade or business as being only a public official in the performance of their duties, to the exclusion of any other form of work done by an individual. I think that's where we're having a disconnect here.
Well, I think if you allow the video to proceed, you see the next paragraph of this Supreme Court case will address your concern, Artie. So how about if you let that,
all right,
this can be continued. Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Why don't we go through the video instead of trying to expand on what the video is about? You put this video out. You had all the opportunity to do all the expanding you wanted to. You didn't do it. So why don't we take the video at its face value of what it is,
of course,
and then we can rebut. Well,
that's what I'm saying too. I'm not going to bring out any additional information. If you want us now bring up the court case, we can do that. But I'm only going to be playing the video as it was placed by yourself, Payman.
That's great. That was my idea also. I agree. Let's do that.
It's totally irrelevant to their issue, and find one sentence and pull it out and say, okay, that's law. It's in a court case, so that's law. That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works.
So you don't see the word 50 states in the definition of state or United States? It's not in there. That's why. That's what this case means. And
So he's making a leap of logic here that just because somewhere, either in the code or somewhere else, it doesn't say 50 states. So anytime it doesn't say 50 states, it means only the District of Columbia. And as we saw in that last section, it would pervert a sentence that says that the geographic area of the United States is the District of Columbia and the District of Columbia. So we've already debunked that.
And you cannot assume that it applies to 50 states because Gould versus Gould, a U.S. Supreme Court case of 1917, clearly said that in the understanding, interpretation of tax laws, statutes levying taxes, it is the established rule not to extend their provisions of tax laws by implication beyond the clear import of the language used.
I'm sorry? Juan?
I don't hear him. Is he saying something?
Oh, I thought you said something. I thought you said the pause.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
My bad. No problem.
Or to enlarge their operations so as to embrace matters, tax matters, not specifically pointed out. And most importantly, in case of doubt, they are construed most strongly against the government and in favor of the citizen.
And that, of course, for the most part is true. The problem is this case that he's pulling that sentence out of was one about taxing alimony. And at the time that this was decided, alimony was not considered a taxable issue. So they were going beyond what was taxable at that time. It doesn't have anything to do with whether wages or salaries or the money that you earn. This had to do at the time with alimony that was not yet codified as being taxable. Let's continue.
Folks, boom, right there. These definitions are critical. And I'll show you one more thing. Look, when it comes to oil taxes, okay, here it is, definitions. When it comes to this, for purposes of this subchapter.
For the purposes of this chapter, that's very important language in statutes.
This subchapter is on tax on petroleum.
Well, now wait a minute. We're talking about income tax on wages and stuff like that that the majority of people earn in America. So he's having to jump all the way to the tax on petroleum to cherry pick out something that will fit his narrative. Let's go continue.
I'm going to pause there briefly, and I would have to agree with Juan. Like, what does the Congress's definitions as described under, petroleum taxes has anything to do with how terms are defined generally under the income tax code? So I'm curious about that. I'll let you respond, Payman. I'm just going to be right back. I'll let you guys discuss. 1 second.
Well, okay, if you guys want to go back and forth, I suppose we can do that too, as you wish. First, let's go back to rewind the video to Gould versus Gould, please, so they can see it, read it for themselves on the screen. It's a very key case. If you could do that, Artie, I would appreciate that. Rewind the video so your audience can see Gould versus Gould actually says. So I'm addressing this issue. Yes.
Payman. Artie's away from the case, right? I mean, from his computer right now. So all he wanted you to do was just say why you were scooting over here to the environmental taxes.
Okay, I'll do that. No problem. We haven't shown the law on this thing, but I'll tell you what it is. So when you read the definition of United States in this section, as you shall see, the video will play, it specifically mentions the 50 states. It mentions a bunch of U.S. territories specifically. It also includes the continental shelf and foreign trade zones. See, it's a very, very completely comprehensive definition of the United States. Not just the 50 states, any and all territories, continental shelf, and even foreign trade zones. Okay?
Yeah, because
So-
because petroleum is all over the place and on the continental shelf, and that's where these environmental taxes would be had. It's a completely different section. You're not making that break in the definitions and how things are applied in law, statutes, and such. That's the problem here. That's why it names all these other things.
Okay, may I continue?
Sure. Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. What if you know? But basically, what Juan is saying, the bottom line of Juan's argument is that it's obvious. It's clearly implied. Everybody knows the 50 states are included in definition of the word state. Now that is let's get that clear. So Juan, let's get this clear. What you're saying, Juan, is that everybody knows it's clearly, obviously implied. Assume that the 50 states is there in the definition of state, and I'm saying it's not. Is that let's get that clear. Is that right?
I think I would. I don't mean to answer for Juan, but I would say that is a fundamental difference that we're having here of interpretation.
Thank you, Artie. Thank you for trying to be the good, fair judge. I appreciate you being a good arbitrator here. So let's get to that point then. So we're gonna get to the bottom of that issue. Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and finish this because I do cover a bunch of stuff you may want to talk about. So can we go ahead and continue?
Yeah, that's. I mean, would that be all right, Payman? Because we do go forward further when discussing states as well in the video itself. So we might be able to get a more clarification on where each of us stand, if you don't mind.
That's fine, but you got to go back and forth on this issue of playing the video or not. So
okay, all right, all right, fine, fair enough.
Well, that's been a payment. We were just going to be talking while Artie was away before he restarted the video. That was just kind of a sidebar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Any way you want. It's your show, Artie. Go ahead, man.
All right,
go ahead.
Let's go.
For this particular chapter only of tax law, look, the defined United States means the 50 states, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, any possession of the United States, the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, and the Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands.
Okay. See, here because it says the 50 states, he's now going to take a leap in logic and says, see, when it doesn't say 50 states, it means District of Columbia. Ridiculous. I can't believe people buy into it.
Yes, the word 50 states here is on purpose and is not otherwise there on purpose. So you, my friend, the average American, is not required to file and pay income tax. Watch this presentation a couple of times. Watch the longer presentation link below in the description and it's coming up. Watch that for more detail. And what you want to do, folks, join us, write letters to Congress at Freedom Law School's website that we have, folks. Stop Income Taxes tab, Stop Individual Income Tax tab. You find there, here is the PDF, folks, of the fill-in-the-blank letter to write to Congress about justification for congressional investigation of income tax collection to stop this thievery. Here's the sample letters, fill in the blank, and everything that's quoted in these letters you see here, the laws are attached to it and highlighted just like I did for you right here, folks.
So he's basically saying, get one of these and send it to the government to show how stupid and ridiculous your thought processes are. But people buy into it. We'll go with him a little bit longer.
Be sure to watch the longer video for more detail about this issue, folks, because you, my friend, who lives in the 50 states, work for yourself, employee, or working for a state or local government are not required to file income tax per the tax law.
And he totally believes that. And he is quite the salesman. This guy sells packages. And his most extravagant package will cost you $9,000 a year the first year. After that, it's $4,500 a year. And then he's got a lower level that maybe at $5,000 Then I think he's got a lower level at $1,400 or $1,500. But this is what he sells. He sells these big packages for this nonsense to get people to, buy his DVDs about how he teaches law and things like that. You should really go to his website, Freedom Law School, and see for yourself the kind of BS that this sells to people. It's absolutely amazing. Now what we're going to do, we're going to look at the word includes that he totally ignores that is in those definitions that he first talks about. He just doesn't scroll down far enough so people can see it. Let's continue. Definitions that we all saw, and here's the two that he focused on this page. The term United States, when used in a geographical sense, and we know what geographical sense is, we know the territory, the geographic area of it, includes only the states and the District of Columbia. Oh, well, he says, what does states mean? Well, let's go over here. The term state shall be construed to include the District of Columbia. And then he kind of ignores that this is a limitation when that applies. But he says, oh, look at there, state means the District of Columbia. Well, now how silly that is if we take that definition, because he seems to be saying that include limits it to mean District of Columbia. But how silly that would be, it would make this read the term United States, and he focuses in on the United States, what it means, remember. When used in a geographical sense, includes only the District of Columbia and the District of Columbia. So we can see how silly that is. But I guess the people he's talking to can't grasp that. It's to say nothing of ignoring that it's a limit. This definition is limited. So let's go down to a definition that he doesn't want anybody to scroll down. Okay, let's go down here and see if I can find it again. The definition he doesn't want people to scroll down to, as it applies to includes and including. It says the terms includes and including, when used in a definition contained in this title, shall not be deemed to exclude other things otherwise within the meaning of the term. Like we've just seen with state there, he's trying to exclude the 50 states because it doesn't particularly say the 50 states. So he's limiting it to only meaning District of Columbia. So therefore the District of Columbia means the United States. And he did the same thing with trade or business. He said, trade or business includes working for the federal government. Well, he says he's interpreting it to mean it's limited only to those who work for the federal government. So you can see why he doesn't scroll down. And you'd think, after being in quote-unquote business since '96, he would have at least one time scrolled down through the whole definitions and found this. And you can imagine that he probably did. But what internet pseudo-lawyers do, that do it for profit, who've never attended law school, they set up websites and YouTube channel that looks like a law office, law books behind them, and then they manipulate words and jump around and cherry pick to where the average person doesn't, if they're already in trouble with the IRS looking for help, or just are susceptible to believing things. This is a guy that will charge them up to $9,000, I guess it is, a year to protect them from the evil IRS because they don't have to pay because they're not federal employees. So this is a kind of, snake oil salesman or used car salesman type tactics of diversion and manipulating words and getting people who may be in dire straits to part with their money And these are the type of internet lawyers that piss me off.
Okay. That was the end of the video, and I think that was Juan saved the money shot for last, which was that term, that definition of includes, and I think that kind of turns the entire discussion on its head, because the term includes explicitly goes against how you would see, how you define states and how you define United States, a state and how you define United States. So I would like to hear from you, Payman, on your response to what Juan Galt pointed out in the last bit of the video.
Okay, first I want to note that what I presented was only 9 minutes in the video, and what Juan presented was a total of 27 minutes.
And
So in other words, okay, in other words...
No, I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. In other words, 27 minus 9, that means that 18 minutes of the video you guys saw was Juan's commentary and character assassinations on me, my intelligence, and all that, which is fine. No problem. Juan, you have a right to free speech. However, I was not given a chance during that video of his to respond to any of those things. So I need some time without interruption, as Juan has done with me earlier tonight, to be able to present what I want to say without Juan saying anything. If Artie has any questions, I'll bring it up. But I need to build this up because you cannot make a solid court case argument in a short video. Actually, the full presentation on this is 54 minutes long on this issue. This is just basically a short introduction to it. So let me ask you, can I speak without Juan interrupting me as he had done earlier in this broadcast?
I think Juan...
I will not interrupt you, Payman.
I think that was going to go without saying, so by all means go for it. Juan will not interrupt, so the floor is yours.
Okay. So first of all, that definition of including you bring up in the code, I am very well aware of that. One, I will come back to that. That's a very good point you bring up. I want to acknowledge that. But first, we got to go through this thing. So I guess I have to share my screen perhaps with you guys so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can share my screen one more time.
Let me
see if that works.
Let me stop my sharing, and then you can go ahead and you should be able to share your screen now. There you go.
Okay. Do you see my screen now?
1 second. Let me make sure that the audience.
No problem. No problem.
Okay, I see it now. And so
see my screen right now?
Yes, and so does the audience.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you letting me do that. If I can make it a little bit smaller so I can have a little better control over this. Okay. So we have to go back, first of all, to the Supreme Court case that Gould versus Gould is a very important case. And I'm going to have to come back to Gould versus Gould more than one time, perhaps, because one of the things that Juan does, he gives a very short shrift to these Supreme Court cases and what they say, what they mean. Okay. First of all, this case of that's before us right now, before Gould versus Gould, is very important. This is a case of Meese versus Keene, 1987 case. This case was about political propaganda, no doubt about it. I'm going to keep playing a video so you can see that. That is true. However, the court makes very clear that, number one, in any statute, I think we all agree that Congress has a definition to make any kind of definition they want, but it is axiomatic, which means self-evident. The word axiomatic is a logical math term. It's self-evident that the statutory definition of a term excludes unstated meanings of the term. That's very important. You cannot just lightly just shrug off the Supreme Court words. I mean, when one you just called it cherry picking of the Supreme Court case, this is what everybody quotes the Supreme Court. This is what we go by. So that's that character assassination cherry picking term one. Please stop doing that and just address the words that are there without character assassinations like cherry picking. So it is self-evident that the statutory definition of the term excludes unstated meanings of that term. That is just so, I mean, it's just obvious. The Supreme Court says that's obvious. We have to argue. If you don't define hyena in definition of a cat, it's not there, even though many biologists consider a hyena to be a cat. It's not there, in fact. So, and it doesn't say anything about that this principle does not apply to tax cases. This is the other thing that Juan does wrong. He says, oh, it's not a tax case, so it doesn't apply. Come on. Rules of evidence apply everywhere. You know that. Okay? So you cannot just press, oh, no, not in tax cases. In tax cases, you can bring hearsay. You know, or not in murder cases, you can bring hearsay. No, hearsay is not allowed unless there are some very specific exceptions clearly showed in the law. So it's up to one to show that Meese versus Keene does not apply to tax cases. Not just say, oh, it's not a tax case. You could not go by that. And one has never been able to bring one court case to say, oh, but this doesn't apply because it's not a tax case. Okay. Now you see before your screen, the court case continues to say that as judges, it is our duty to construe legislation as it is written, not as it might be read by a layman or as it might be understood by someone who has not even read it. Now, you as lawyers know that already. You know, that doesn't matter what the average person thinks, everybody knows. Supreme Court said to that, thinking that, oh, everybody understands, you know, the state, obviously, 50 states are obviously in there. They're saying clearly, no. You know, these laws were not seen by Artie or Juan or other people in this call before I brought it to your view, these laws. So you cannot just go by that. You got to go by exactly what the legislature says. You know, whether you've never read it as an attorney or you're a layman, doesn't matter. So again, going back, the definition, you know, what's not there is not there. So that's very clear, Supreme Court, on that issue. And again, one has never shown any court case that says, oh, but the Supreme Court said this principle doesn't apply to tax laws. So one fails in that regard. Now here's the case of Gould versus Gould, as you can see before you. Gould versus Gould, it says in the interpretation of statutes levying taxes, it is the established rule not to extend their provisions by implication. Now the court doesn't say, this is an alimony case. It's a very short alimony case. You don't have very 3 pages Supreme Court opinions these days. You know, there's extremely short case. This is an alimony case, true. But it's tax case, the court does not say in the interpretation of statutes about alimony cases, it is the established rule not to extend the provisions by implication, by implying. No, it's levying taxes in general, period. Oil taxes, gas taxes, alcohol, income tax, everything is a general rule. You cannot do by implication beyond the clear import of the language used, beyond what the language clearly says, or to enlarge the operation of the tax law so as to embrace or include matters not specifically pointed out. The Supreme Court could not have been more clear on this. They mention it in 2 different ways, or 3. There is no taxing by implication, nothing beyond imported language used, and you cannot enlarge your operation to include something that's not there. That's 3 different ways. Supreme Court said the same thing. There is no such thing as taxing by implying, assuming it's there. Of course, the reason for that is pretty simple, gentlemen and ladies, because taxation by definition is theft. Now, minimal taxation during the government is a necessary theft so that we don't have competing criminal mafia gangs enslave the people and say, you got to pay me extortion versus the other gang extortion, like we got in Libya.
Okay, payment. I'm going to ask you to stay on topic and not
Okay, fine.
proselytize.
So, okay, fine. Well, he does that. So let me do a little bit. I'm coming back. So here's the thing. So here's the last part. This is very important. In case of doubt. Juan says there's doubt here. No, he doesn't say doubt. So no, the other way. But if there's any doubt, they are construed more strongly against the government and in favor of the citizen. Now, first I'm going to add two things. The Supreme Court lists 3 cases after that, as you can see, about this principle of law. And if you look at these 3 cases, okay, that the court mentions, Wigglesworth, Twine, and Benzinger, they're not alimony cases. They're simply tax cases. And it's an established rule. So it's not just limited to alimony cases as one, just to want to throw it out there, oh, sure, just only alimony. Just because he says that, no, he's got to show that this is not, doesn't apply, to taxes. This is only applies to alimony only. It's not. Now, second thing, in case of doubt, the words of the Supreme Court in his unanimous case, is very strong in favor of my arguments. The court could have said, in case of doubt, the tax laws, are construed against the government. They could have said that, but they didn't. They could have made it stronger and say they are construed strongly against the government. That would have been stronger against the government, but the Supreme Court didn't say that. The court could have said they're construed very strongly against the government, but they didn't use that very strongly term either. In case of doubt, the Supreme Court said they are construed most strongly against the government and in favor of the citizen not being taxed. The Supreme Court could not have in any way chosen a more stronger language than most strongly against the government and in favor of citizens being taxed. So if there's any doubt in this thing, if we're before the jury and give a jury instruction, that would go to the jury. Hey, most strongly against the government. So this right there forecloses it that these definitions are critical. You got to go by their face, as Meese versus Keene also says. Now, let's go on further in all this. The reason why you see me, I show the 4612 oil tax is to show that the United States, you cannot willy-nilly, like one wants to just, assume the 50 states are in there, or any territory of the United States. No, Congress uses various definitions in the code. Look at this one, 26 U.S.C. 6103 before you, okay? For the purposes of this section, definitions, right? Okay, well, guess what? In this 6103, they have a different definition. Here it is, 5A. The term states means any of the 50 states, District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Guam, American Samoa, and the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. Oh, guess what? You know what's missing? Remember the one on oils, on chapter on oil, 4612? The Trust Territory of Pacific is not missing. It's not here. Should we assume that Trust Territory of Pacific is in here? Well, according to Juan, sure. It's everything. We got to assume that it's there. But it's not here. Oh, so we're just going to trash can these definitions that got Congress, according to Juan, and just go with whatever, what Juan says. Well, it's everything is implied. It's got to be in there. Okay, I'll give you more definitions. Here's section 26 U.S.C., section 993. Okay, this is normal taxes and surtaxes, right? Definition and special rules that section 993 has of tax laws. Oh, look at that. The definitions here are also unique. Here, United States defined as, United States includes the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico and the possession of the United States. They don't even mention Washington, D.C. here. Is that included? Oh, it's got to be. Washington, D.C. is not there. How about 50 states? Oh, it's got to be. So, how about Trust Territory Pacific Islands? Well, that's in the possession of the United States. We can, that's in there. But 50 states are not in there. You see, all these definitions, what Juan is saying is, shit can them, assume they all don't matter, they all, because if you don't go by his definitions, that means they all are worthless. They all mean the same thing, and they are not, okay? Here's, I got in front of me, another section from the Internal Code, 26 U.S.C. 3306. Employment taxes, right? Federal Unemployment Tax Act. This is the Social Security Tax Act. Well, look at that. They define the term states in the United States in this chapter. The term states includes the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. How about Guam? How about the Trust Territory, of Northern Mariana? How about, Northern Mariana Islands? How about Samoa? They're not listed in Samoa. Okay, no problem. According to one, we shit can this definition also. American Samoa is in there. Northern Mariana Islands is in there because it's clearly implied. I mean, the United States is stated, right? Is it? I mean, after all, if Puerto Rico is there, Virgin Islands and District of Columbia is in there, obviously, according to Juan, Samoa must be there too. Northern Mariana Islands must be there as well, right? And how about the term United States, which includes the states? Okay, let's go a little bit more. And how about that? The term United States has the same things. The states and the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. It's the exact same definition as state. Now, Juan says, you cannot have it be repetitious. Well, who says? Who says that Congress does not have the authority to what state in the United States mean the same thing? After all, Juan, one thing I will show you later on a little bit is that I will show you way back in 1913, when it comes to income tax, I will show you statutes at large.
Okay, Payman, real quick, I'm going to give you one more minute because you've been speaking for about 13 minutes now. So I'm going to give you
that's
another minute.
Right here. So basically, the law would be void for vagueness if you have this thing. Does it include or not include this stuff? You know what? That includes what's including. Could be, may throw you off a little bit, but you can't go by that. We have to go, I think Juan would agree, by what the U.S. Supreme Court says about these definitions. They are distinct for Congress's own desires. That's up to them. As you can see, we either shit can them all or they all stand on their own, including the general definition of trade or business, United States, and state.
Thank you. Go ahead. Okay. Juan, the floor is yours.
Well, I guess we have a problem, I still say, with statutory construction. And each definition in the subchapter that says that these apply only for this subchapter is what is relevant to the statutory construction of it. And your Meese v. case, statements in dicta. When a judge is, just rambling on, if you will, they make their dicta in light of the fact circumstances of the case. And the term that statement was referring to was political propaganda. And so that is the situation we're talking about in that case. And to try to impart that, and if you go to court and you write a legal brief, and you litigate a lot of cases like I have, You take cases that are on point. A case like this, if you tried to use this case in a brief to make an income tax point, it would be totally disregarded because the fact circumstances are completely different. It doesn't compute. It falls way low in source value. As far as the alimony, that case, the Gould v. Gould, that case was decided in light of the fact that alimony had not been codified by the legislature yet as a taxable issue or a taxable item. And that's why it talks about it was not in the clear import of what was in the law, the income tax law, because they were trying to expand the law as it was written to include alimony when alimony was never mentioned. So that's what that case means, and that's what those statements mean in that. And it still applies today in looking at a case, just like we're looking at these statutes. They look at the statute, and the term state, like I said, has a common usage. And judges take judicial notice when looking at a case of legislative acts and certain facts that are uncontroverted. And you cannot find a case, I guarantee you, that a court will interpret those definitions to mean what Payman is saying they mean in that first definition of state and United States. They will not look at it as he is trying to look at it. And that's all I'm saying, because he's misinterpreting statutory construction and judicial notice and things that are looked at in, court when you're in litigation. I don't know what else I could call her. We can let him talk now.
Okay. All right. Thank you for giving the floor. I'm going to go back to my screen. First of all, I want to share with everybody, as you noticed, Juan was not able to refute any of the points I stated, which I summarized. Meese versus Keene, it was about political propaganda. We both agree. He says, he said that was dicta. No, that was the holding of the case. The whole case was about the fact that these guys were saying, oh, we call political propaganda, and the Supreme Court said, well, they can define political propaganda any way they want to. That was the holding of the case. You folks read that for yourself. That is the holding of the case. Okay. Number two, the whole issue that we got to go by the words as the Congress says it. Supreme Court says it's axiomatic that what's not there is not there. So he didn't refute that either. He couldn't. He didn't. Next, on the issue of Meese, Gould versus Gould, on the argument that this case is that case was the alimony case. Yeah, agree. It's an alimony case, but there was nothing in there to show that that rule of taxation that's stated in that case applies only in alimony cases. It applies to any and all tax cases. And there's 3 Supreme Court cases listed there. One never looked at enough to see if they say it's only about alimony. No, it's not about any tax case. And furthermore, one did not even close to trying to attempt to refute the language of the Supreme Court that, in case of doubt, the tax laws are construed most strongly against the government and in favor of citizens not being taxed. They didn't even try to do that. Okay, so there the case is closed shut. He could not refute anything I say now. In the previous conversation with the same thing, but I got more for you, Artie. If you'd like to see a little more, I'm happy to show this stuff. This is, can you see my screen, by the way?
I can see your screen, but I would like to respond when
Sure.
you're finished.
Okay, so you can want to respond to that before I add a little bit more. I'm going to go to the history of the 1913 income tax, because that shows why some of these definitions are the same. Okay, I guess I'll make it bigger for you guys to see. This is the 1913 Act, you see it, okay, Act of Congress, okay? The very first income tax that was laid in 1913. Okay, now let me see. Let's go off screen so I go to the next one. Here now, next slide I show you. This is section 2 that says every citizen of the United States residing in the United States, a like tax shall be imposed. This is a law on that imposes the tax. Section 2. Now we're going to definitions down further. Look at that. That the word state or United States, when used in this section, this is in 1913, the first modern income tax, right, shall be construed to include, oh, that's a very interesting definition, any territory, Alaska, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines Islands, when such construction is necessary to carry out its provisions. Oh, now, this shows you the intent of Congress back there. They mentioned all these specific territories. In this video, you can watch on your home, that says, since on my YouTube channel, since 1913, has the U.S. federal income tax law never applied to the 50 states of the Union, full 45 minutes. I go through and I trace every statute at large that since then, and I show every single one of them, just about every one of them, and show these definitions later on were the same thing. Here's a state, United States, again, same definition years later, okay? And later on, what happens as, for example, here you see when Philippines became an independent country after World War II, it's taken out. Guam is taken out, and Puerto Rico. In here, they only list the territories of Alaska and Hawaii and the District of Columbia. And later on, you'll see here that Alaska and Hawaii, when they became states, they were taken out one by one. When they became states, they're no longer there. And that's why today we have only, see, I'm going through this volume, only Washington, D.C. in there. That was not the case way back then. So right there, it shows congressional intent. Look at this one, for example. Section 7701A9 of the Internal Revenue Code relating to the definition of the United States is amended by striking out the territory of Hawaii. Section 771A10 of the Internal Code, is amended by striking out the territory of Hawaii. Yeah, see?
Because Hawaii became a state in 1959, right? Yeah, so
now that it's territory of the United States.
Right, so it's a redundant. It would be redundant to say a state. It will be incorrect to say because Hawaii is no longer a territory; it's a state, and therefore it's defined as a state under the Internal Revenue Code.
Well, here's the thing: in 1913, the law was made.
Well, let me.
50 states.
With all due respect, Payman, can I please respond to you because I've allowed you to speak. So. My issue here with where you're going, and Juan didn't bring it up himself, and is the issue is that what we're missing in this entire situation is that you are saying that the word includes is meant to be an excluding all others, and you refer to these two Supreme Court citations, Gould versus Gould and the other case. To say that it's axiomatic, that it's supposed to mean what it says. But the problem is that Juan Gall pointed out to you that in the very same chapter where you point to what the definition of United States and state, it goes on to say that the terms includes and including, when used in the definition contained in this title, not just chapter or subchapter, but title, shall not be deemed to exclude other things otherwise within the meaning of the term defined. And therefore, because we understand state to mean United States, your interpretation of includes under the chapter is incorrect. And the fact that you're pointing to these court cases is meaningless because Congress explicitly goes against what your citation says. Congress is defining, as you said, Congress defines the terms. They have the freedom to define their terms. They're defining including and includes as an inclusive term and not an exclusive term. So I would need you to respond to that rather than trying to say that Juan got it wrong when talking about the Supreme Court cases. I need you to respond to the fact that Congress itself is going against how your own version of statutory construction.
Okay, here's the thing about that. The federal government was always, here's the thing, the founding fathers of America, okay, gave in the Constitution of the United States the federal government unlimited power in the United States, in Washington, D.C., that was going to be given to them, and any territories or land acquired, it was presumably would have been for like military force and post office and stuff like that, because they didn't want this the federal government to be under the thumb of any of the states. And I think you all know about that. So the founding fathers never ever gave the federal government to directly tax Americans in the states like they're doing, except by apportionment, which was done in the late 1700s one time and several times in the early 1800s. In fact, on my other videos, now you see by now, Bobby, already, that when I show stuff on my screen on the laws, when I show stuff, I got everything right there. So I'm not one of those crackpot sovereign citizen guys that Juan is used to that just makes up stuff. You can see I'm different. Right off the bat, you can tell I'm a different cut, and he denigrates me when he compares with sovereign citizens. How many people are able to go find statutes at large online from 1913 and highlight it and show it to you the relevant language? So
that's awesome to hear, Payman. I'm still waiting for you to respond to my argument about the Congress defining include and includes.
Here's the thing. Bottom line is this. Here's the thing. Here we got these definitions of the United States in section 3121. I'm showing you. It's this way. Okay. Let's go to section 3306. It's different. Let's go section 993. It's different.
But in each and every one of them, in each and every one of those definitions that you're looking at, it says includes, right?
That's right. So let me ask you.
And so if it's saying includes, and if we go by how Congress defines includes and including, that by definition, that is the conclusion that we're going to draw. That includes is not meant to only say that it only means the District of Columbia, only means Puerto Rico. It means the U.S. states, as we understand them, and Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia.
Well,
that's the argument that I'm making here, because you haven't addressed that part.
I am. I said that's not tenable. That argument is not only the Supreme Court says is wrong. It's not tenable because all these definitions are shit canned.
So Congress is incorrect.
No, Congress is good. No, well, otherwise included that including, it means that otherwise something that would be in the same category, perhaps. See, they put this stuff in there to distract you and maybe confuse you. But at the end, guess what? We have to go by what U.S. Supreme Court says.
Wait, so now you're saying Congress is being deceptive?
Yes, that's right. You want to see Congress deception? I'll show you right now. Okay, this is going to shock you. There's a law that says that you've got the states can ask for your social security number. I call the Satan surveillance number.
Why are you going into it? Why are you going to a separate title now?
Because I'm gonna show you. You said deception.
But the problem I'm having here, Payman. We're talking about the income tax code. And we're talking about and again, I'm sorry, but I have to redirect you to please respond. Are you disagreeing with Congress and how Congress is defining include and includes with regard to interpreting the tax code?
Well, let me ask you another question back then. Are you disagreeing with the U.S. Supreme Court on how we should interpret tax laws?
Payman, can you please answer my question? I'm not gonna. You're answering the question with another question.
The answer to your question is this. Okay, my answer is that the law would have been unconstitutional if it applied to the 50 states, applies to D.C., and that word includes doesn't mean otherwise. Whatever this vague thing, as you can see in front of you, this definition in the section 61.3 includes Northern Mariana Islands and American Samoa and Guam, right?
And the 50 states.
Well, and it's 50 states, but guess what? You look at this next section I'm going to show you, 1101. Wait a minute. In this case, it doesn't include Samoa. So Samoa is in there. You know, no. Again, look at this. Continental United States is in there. This is Title 8, by the way. Okay, so I'm not going to go with that one because that's not a tax case. Look at this one, tax case, Section 993. They don't mention 50 states.
Right.
No territory except Puerto Rico.
But again, here's the thing: when you're looking at that, the right there, it says, for the purposes of this part, the term United States includes the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico and the possessions of the United States, based on how Congress defines the terms includes and including in term. And remember that term, they said it applies to the entirety of the title, Title 26. Yes. It is meant to be an inclusive term. So therefore, the interpretation that the court's going to say is that that term means the U.S. 50 states and Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and District of Columbia.
Well, if that's the case, then how about here? The Section 3306. The type state is defined as not including 50 states here. And look at this. Some territories are not listed. 3306.
Right. So
are we to assume that Samoa is included in here? Let me answer this question. Is Samoa included here in the term state?
Is Samoa? No, because Samoa is not a state by definition. A U.S. state is the state. A U.S. state is a state by definition. By the ordinary and regular meaning of the term state, a Texas is a state by definition.
Look,
not American Samoa, right?
Well, let me refute that argument, because you see United States and state in both of them, they mention territories of Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. So if these territories are there, why wouldn't Samoa be there?
Because they are not normally construed as a state. If you're looking at the term state, you're looking at the term state includes D.C., Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands. Therefore, American Samoa and the Mariana Islands are not included by those terms. But that doesn't also mean that Virginia is excluded from it, because Virginia is a state by the ordinary and regular meaning of the term state.
Well, listen, the Congress chose a definition of the word state. It was their decision, not mine, to make these territories, for this definition, Puerto Rico and Virgin Island, states, even though they're obviously not states.
Right.
I mean, who am I to question, hey, stupid Congress, you cannot put Puerto Rico and Virgin Island as state. They're not state. What Congress said, hey, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, because
so the other ones in the same category, if it's the same category, other territories like Samoa are territories. Why they cannot be by Congress intended, implied to also be state, just like these other territories listed.
All I'm saying is that, again, Juan and I are referring to the term state by its ordinary and regular meaning, in that when Congress is defining state and United States and using the term includes is intended to be construed as an inclusive factor, and not to mean that anything said after the term includes is to the exclusion of anything else.
Okay, fine.
And I'm relying on how Congress explicitly defines the terms include and includes, or including.
Okay, that's fine. Let's follow that logic. And that logic will fall apart. I'll show you momentarily in your screen. Compare.
Well, the thing is, and I'll let you continue. I promise. I apologize for interrupting. And the reason why I think Juan and I are saying that would be the most logical definition is because if we were to follow your terminology, again, we go to an ultimate redundancy to say that Congress is saying a state is DC and DC, which I think even you would say that sounds like an absurd result in terms of interpretation.
Not at all. I would never say that.
Okay.
Congress chooses to do whatever they want to do. That's their choice.
All right, I'll let you respond.
Okay, so first of all, it's not redundancy. That's Congress's choice. If the Congress can define anything they want, if they want, they can define United States and the state in the same. In fact, I showed you the 1913 Act in one of my videos. Let me bring that up. Yeah, I did. Yeah, right here, this one. I showed it to you right there. That the first, let me make it bigger, the very first Tax Act Congress did in 1913, they specifically, they put the word state or United States to have the exact same definition. This is 1913 statutes at large. So that argument goes nowhere. Congress has complete liberty to define state and United States to be the same.
Well, no. It's not about them defining state. It's not about the state defining the state and United States sounding the same. It's about if we were to apply your definition of United States, if we were to apply to say that state means also the DC, then the equivalent of the definition of United States would literally mean when speaking out the definition is District of Columbia and District of Columbia. That's where the absurdity lies. It's not about state and United States being the same. It's about United States saying DC and DC. That is all. I with all due respect, I don't think Congress is even that. I have a low opinion of Congress, but even I don't think that they're that stupid to make that kind of redundancy.
Congress, if they want to do that, if I showed you right here, Congress did exactly that in 1930. Right there, you look at the statutes at large, that the word state or United States, when used in this section, shall be construed to include any territory, Alaska, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the Philippine Islands, when such construction is necessary to carry out its provisions.
And you're saying
this is illegal in 1913 when Congress did that?
And you're saying that that terminology does not include any of the states that were in the union at that time.
Hold on. Let's one thing at a time. So
I'll let you, Juan. I'll let you respond from here on out. I gotta go. Right.
Yes. So the argument that Congress cannot define states, United States the same, right here is let's agree that's not a bad argument, and we can move on to whatever else Juan wants to say. So Congress has that power, and in 1913 even defined state, United States, in imposing the first income tax to be exact same. If you could do it in 1913, today, that's not a problem with Section 7701 defining state, United States to be exact same thing, the District of Columbia. From there, you want to go from there? Please.
Can I address this, what's on the screen? Okay. This goes into statutory construction. So first of all, H, that says H, that word state. Now, I don't know what section. It says that when used in this section. Now, I don't know what that section is, but let me continue. Shall be construed to include any territory and District of Columbia, yada, yada, when such construction is necessary. It's a limiting definition, and it's limited to when it is necessary to carry out its provisions. And like I said, I don't know what provisions it's necessary to carry out under this section H here, that this is what I would almost call being cherry-picked. I would have to see how that is, what that section applies to, and you don't provide that.
I do. It's in there. Watch my video.
Well, if you're going to present an argument and evidence, you got to be able to back it up.
It is.
It's not up to me to go and search out and make evidence to make your argument for you. I'm here saying that that H and it being used for that particular section, I would have to see how that's being used, and it's a limiting definition because it only applies when its construction is necessary. Statutory construction is what you're not schooled in and you're not trained in. You're teaching yourself, and you're teaching yourself incorrectly when it comes to statutory construction. That's all I'm saying, Payman. I was in your shoes 40 years ago. I was self-taught. And I
Let's not
wasn't.
bring that up because
And
you get
that,
a bar
okay,
license. Don't bring that
okay.
up, please.
I never got a bar license
Okay.
ever. Okay, so all I'm saying is that you're not interpreting this correctly, and I could probably prove that if I knew what H was, but you didn't bring anything to the table, but this out of context statement here.
I'm going to write you, show you exactly what H is. You want to see it? I'll show it to you right here. This is an act of Congress, and I have it in my presentation. So you didn't do your homework on me, but we start criticizing me, okay? This is the September 1913 Act. I deliberately made sure that you could see on top of that law that approved September 30th, 1913, and I have the exact. Do I have in my description the exact citation of that? Probably maybe not.
Wait a minute. That talks about tariffs. Where it says this is an act to reduce tariff duties and to provide revenue for the government and for other purposes. So
that's right.
What are the other purposes? Let me
taxing income taxes. Of course, income taxes. You know that they always write.
Well, okay. Scroll down and let me see it.
Okay, so I did. I went down to the next section, which is relevant. Here it is, section 2 of the tax. Okay, that they shall be levied and assessed and collected and paid annually upon the entire income arising or accrued from all sources in the preceding calendar year to every citizen of the United States, whether residing at home or abroad, and to every person residing in the United States, though not a citizen thereof, 1% per annum upon such income. See, it's income tax. Okay.
I could read payment. Just scroll down and let me read it.
Well, I didn't scroll down completely. I just went to the relevant sections of it. Okay. To be honest with you, I got you can see it all better. So this is the act. Now you tell me I'm lying to you. That's fine. I can email you this stuff if you want. I show it to you. Send the whole thing at large. Go search it yourself.
Just go down to H. Just scroll down to H.
We don't scroll down. I just took it down to H before my presentation. H is where we were before. Hold on. Let's see. H. Hold on.
No, don't just jump around. Scroll down so I can read the whole.
No, this is part of my presentation that I did. If you want to get that, I have to go to my library on my computer, which will take me a minute to do on the court case and legal research, and find that. That's going to take me a couple of minutes. I'll be happy to do that if you want to give me a minute. Because that's a video that I'm stopping and pausing. That is a different place. IRS.
Oh, you did. So in the video, you didn't scroll down.
No, I didn't scroll down. I just went to relevant part. I have United States and states.
Like you didn't scroll down all the way to includes and including. Yeah, I get it.
Correct. This is the Underwood. This is called a.
Correct.
Okay, I have it in front of you right now. In my screen. There it is. This is called the Underwood. Let me make it bigger. You're gonna read it ourselves. 1913. Okay. The 1913 Act. This is it. Now I can scroll down all you want. You see that? I'm gonna scroll down for you. Okay. To pay tariffs and duties and revenue, provide revenue. So I'm gonna slow down. Go scroll down. Tell me when you want me to stop. I'd be happy to do so. This is 90 pages. Okay. Sorry. So I went through all this stuff and. How the relevant language part of this as I went through it, and I didn't. This is not even highlighted. I don't think.
Okay.
I think
Payman, I'm sorry. I didn't know this would be so time consuming. Okay. Why don't you just put me a link to that in my DM? Just send me a direct message to that, and I'll review it, and we can maybe discuss it another time because it's unfair for me to say something without having read it all, and it's really unfair for you to promote something without having me be up to speed on what you're trying to say. So we can save this for another time. We can do this again sometime. This is good stuff.
That's fine. Let me ask you this. I've never used this before. The one time I signed up, I didn't use it. That was just for one time I did it. So my IT signed me up again on disk. I can put this. I have this file. I can put it on disk and get it to you this way. Or,
yeah, you can upload. You can upload the PDF directly. Yes.
Okay, I have to have my guy show me how to do it because I'm looking at the screen. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a computer guy. Really, I asked my IT guy to show me where where's the upload link on this screen. I don't see it. I see announcements, live stream gaming, and screenshots, and
any of the any of those you can if you put in the chat you'll see a little plus sign where you type in text, and from there you can upload a file from there directly, and that's where you can upload a PDF.
Well, I clicked on a plus on the top left that says add a server below this guy's picture with the
No. Where where you type text, where you send a message. At the bottom, there's a little plus sign inside of a circle.
Oh, I don't see that here. Let me see. I'm looking. I see the camera. Turn on camera. Stop streaming.
No, keep on going further to the right. Further to the right, and if you go.
Oh, the top right. Pop out and full screen is what I see.
No. What I'm saying is, you click on live streaming and gaming. If you go to there where you see all the it's a text chat, right?
Oh yeah. See live stream. I click on that. Got it.
And then at the bottom, at the bottom where you look like you're about to type a message, there should be a plus sign and a circle next to where you type the message, and there you can upload a file.
Thank you very much. I'll be happy to upload this for you, gentlemen. That's what I mean. So I'm going to put this in the 1913 Act that Juan asked me about on there, and then I put a couple of things related to that. I think that my paralegal researcher did for me that I think you may be interested or relevant perhaps to this United States definition. So I'll do that. Yeah, okay. No, it doesn't matter how big the file is it goes through. There's no size limitation here.
Well, I mean, it depends. I think there might be a size limitation. I don't think it would be affected by your thing. If your PDF is like less than 5 megabytes, you should be fine. Okay.
So this is a 1913 Act. I'm gonna put for all of you right now. Tax Act.
Is that the Income Tax Act, or is it a Tariff Act?
All combination. As Juan read, it is on tariffs and for other purposes to provide for revenue. As you see on my screen, it says to provide for revenue in general. So it's all combination. Now, I can send you, if you want, the 1916, 17, 28, all these other ones, and you see the definition of these territories come up one by one. Also, if you want, that's not a problem. What else would I show you? Historical material that might be helpful to you to see the statutory construction development.
Well, I appreciate the statutory as they define the terms. However, while it does show that the definition of United States hasn't really changed much, it still says United States includes D.C., Puerto Rico, etc. The fundamental disagreement we're having is whether or not includes is interpreted to mean to the exclusion of the actual United States, actual states themselves. That's where we're having a fundamental disconnect here, right?
Yeah, and bottom line on that issue, Artie, is very simple. You know, at some point we have to have a final authority to clear up all this confusion for all of us, because things could be left to interpretation.
And I think I agree. And I agree with you that's the fine. And I think for Juan and I, we would go to how Congress defines the terms includes and including. And I think you may disagree with what Congress is saying in terms of defining what includes and including means in relevance to the tax code.
No, I don't. What I'm saying is that you see all these definitions I'm going to bring you. They mean nothing. Then here, let me show you. Well, these definitions will all be worthless. Here's Section 6103 mentions American Samoa, right? And
but it says state means, not state includes. It says state means, and so they're being fairly expansive in that interpretation, right? It doesn't even say includes, right?
No, does zero include? That is true, and a means is a much better definition, which I think Congress should have used to minimize confusion. But look at this one again. It's 993. It only does not include Washington D.C., for example. Wait a minute. Why don't they mention Washington D.C.? That Section 7701 says is included. You know, twice they mention that in state of the United States, but here they don't even list District of Columbia. Well, why? Not just the 50 states, but D.C. Are we to assume that D.C. is included in Section 9931?
I'm sorry, what?
And look at this other section. Here's another one. Here it is, section 993. Let's go to this other section. We have 3121. Okay, here we have again the term state, United States. Now here, look at this. They mention the term state, District of Columbia. Well, 3121 mentions District of Columbia and Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands and American Samoa. But look at the definition in 993. There's mention Samoa or the District of Columbia. Should we read it in there? Because it includes, otherwise.
Again, you're referring to the territories. I'm talking
No,
about
this is
what.
United States.
No, but I understand that. I understand that. You're referring to why that certain territories aren't included as part of the United States. The ultimate decision that we're trying to figure out here is whether United States inherently means the several states, the actual states themselves. And you're saying that Congress needed to actually explicitly state that United States means the states themselves in order to be valid. I mean, that's ultimately what you're trying to argue here, right? That Congress had to say that United States means the states, the 50 states, and Puerto Rico, D.C., etc.
That's right. And it chose not to, just like they chose.
And I honestly think that Congress thought that people would understand what United States means. That it would. I think Congress was not that. I think Congress had a much higher expectation of the intelligence of the reader to say that United States means the 50 states.
Well, let me just interject here real quickly. I did find that Tax Act, and I've been skimming it real quick, Payman, and I can tell you that within the body of that, above H that you put in there, they clearly make a distinction between a state and any territory, because they talk about a state and territory. So that definition at H includes the states that they talk about above, and it says includes any territory. So within the body of that act, they make a clear distinction that they're two different things, because they refer to them differently.
They refer to what differently?
They refer to state and territory. Several times in there they talk about this blah 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 applies to a state and territory. So if in fact state definition at H meant any territory, that again is redundant of them for them to make a differentiate in one sentence, state and territory. There are two different things in that chapter being in that act being talked about. One is a state, which was the however many states there were at that time, 48 or whatever there were, and any territory. And they further down at H say that it means that the term state is going to include for certain purposes these territories. So within the body of that, they make a difference between a state and a territory. They're two different items, and they they refer to them as separate.
One, H is in front of you, my friend, followed by I. Right now, look at my screen. H is there, very short. It's only 4 lines, followed by I. They said that the word state or United States, when used in this section, shall be construed to include any territory, Alaska, and the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the Philippine Islands when such construction necessary to carry out these provisions. That's it. There's no more to H. That's all H says.
No, I'm talking about above that, in the body of the act that H is referring to. That's where the word is used in this section. I'm talking about that section. They use the word state and territory to mean two separate, different things. And all H makes clear is that you guys remember that a state is going to also include, for some certain purposes, these things. So you're trying to make the state only mean those territories is incorrect, because it would have been redundant above there in that section. I just read it several times.
There's nothing wrong with the Congress being redundant. They have every right and power to define things redundantly. They did it right here. Okay, and they did it in other places too, or they make them differently. All I'm saying, Congress has the power, as the Supreme Court has said, to define things any way they want, specifically or differently. You saw all these different code sections. They have all very, I'm being in front of you, very unique definitions Congress chose to give them. That is Congress's discretion.
And I think, but I think the court, even the courts, will say that they're not going to interpret legislation or the statutes that would lead to an absurd result. And I think interpreting the definition of United States to ultimately mean the DC and DC is an absurd result.
Thank you for bringing that point, Artie. I'm glad you brought the issue observed. Observed, that's right. Let's focus on what you said, Artie.
Yeah.
Which one is more absurd? That Congress defines the United States and state as exactly the same, which they did in the 1913 law, which I showed you right here. You see, there it is. Or absurd is that these various unique definitions I'm showing you, 3121, look at that definition. Each of these guys, according to one, we can just shit can them. They all include everything. They all include the 50 states. They all include any and all territories. And hey, by the way, while we're at it, why not the continental shelf and foreign trade zones? I mean, after all, obviously, if they mention some territories, any and all territories, and foreign trade zones, and the continental shelf, obviously included too, including the 50 states. So all these definitions, we're going to shit can them. And we cannot do that because we have to find the law any way we can constitutional. You know that. We must find a way for the law to be constitutional and not void for vagueness. Now that would be, as you know already, the challenge. It would be void for vagueness in all these definitions when a shit cannon assume that 50 states and a bunch of territories who are specifically not mentioned here, mentioned other places, they're all one the same. Now that is absurd.
I would say sorry, Juan. I would say the most logical and non-absurd interpretation would mean that the United States inherently means the 50 states, and anything else would be an addition to it, and that would be defined by Congress. Hold on. I want to let Juan also make his answer.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, it's still clear in H that you are trying to limit what the word includes mean in H. And it means in addition to. So it's in addition to the state that it talks about further up. That I've got. I'll tell you what. I'll put it in the chat in one place in this section where they separate state and territory as two different items to be considered. Okay.
Thank you.
Now you can continue.
Now, I'm going to address what Artie said. Artie, you made a very good point about what does the United States mean. As you see on my screen, I got this case of Hoover versus Allison Company versus Ibat, 1945, and the relevant language, this is all included in our petition to Congress, okay? So in this case, this is very important, okay? They're talking about, Philippines, is it part of the United States in this sense or not, okay? Because this was a tax case, by the way, okay? So they're talking about imports. So this is a tax case, okay? If transported from one state to another. The term United States, highlight area, may be used in any one of the several senses. Oh, really? Interesting. It may be merely the name of a sovereign occupying the position analogous to that of other sovereigns in the family of nations. That would be like America in relation to France, Italy, Germany, and that's what they're referring to. Number two, it may designate the territory over which the sovereignty of the United States extends. That's right. Washington, D.C., Guam, and other territories, that could be other United States when they use that in the laws. The third one is the one everybody thinks about. Or it may be the collective name of the states which are united by and under the Constitution. See, this is the key case also. We always assume United States and the laws mean the 50 states. Supreme Court tells us no. And guess what? Juan is right on this point, that we must look at the construction and intent and language to see that what they do, and you see that this all limit. The United States that the income tax applies is the second one. The territory.
Well, that's how you're interpreting it, though.
Yes, that is how I interpret it.
Okay, fine, but Juan and I are interpreting it as the third one.
That you have the right to do that, and if you do so, gentlemen, I think we hashed this out plenty. Any juror that would want to decide for themselves, they can go to my YouTube channel, Freedom Law School, and see this stuff in more detail. It's all there. In fact, the best place for them to start, if they want to get Freedom Law School's position, I'll show you these gentlemen on my screen, and they can post this stuff for everybody to check out. I'm happy to everybody to see that under our Freedom Hour at livefreedom.org on the Freedom Hour. That takes them to our YouTube channel. Click on YouTube and then go on the playlist. You go to our playlist on the top right, the one that says most Americans.
Are you plugging your channel right now?
No, I'm saying that the research that you want, Artie, is here. I'm showing these videos. So these videos are the detailed videos on these issues that I just showed you. Check it out. Yes.
I have put a text chat in the live stream, live gaming text chat to you, where in that act, one sentence in there, it makes a difference between, it says all sums paid by it within the year for taxes imposed under the authority of the United States or any state or territory thereof. Mm-hmm. So in the United States, it's differentiating right now between a state and a territory. So that definition down at H is not saying that they're saying of any territory or territory thereof. That's the point Artie and I are trying to make. To do what you are wanting to do goes against statutory construction, and it would never, ever, ever be done because it's so blatant and obvious. So I'm sorry. I know you believe it. I know you believe in the person who taught you this stuff, but they didn't know enough to tell you.
No one taught me this stuff. I researched it all myself. But let me address
just a minute. That's the person I'm talking about. Your teacher doesn't have the necessary knowledge, which is the teacher is you, to understand how to construe statutory construction. And what you're doing is you're making it where it would be absurd, and it's not absurd. You are making it that way because of your misinterpretation of how statutory construction works. That's the bottom line on this whole thing.
No, the bottom line is the Gould versus Gould case, okay? It made it very clear that in case of doubt, the tax laws are construed most strongly against the government, as you see right here, the government, and in favor of the citizen, most strongly. And you know what? I put my hat with the U.S. Supreme Court, how the Supreme Court says we must interpret the laws. You want to go with ordinary language? The Supreme Court tells us we cannot go by. We cannot go by what the layman tells us. That is your prerogative.
Payment. Have you made these arguments in front of the tax court before?
Nope, I've not. These arguments, I researched it literally about a year and a half ago. I started going on this stuff, so I haven't had a chance to even attempt to bring it to any litigation.
So these arguments are untested?
These arguments have not been in actual court, being presented to a court. But then again, you can see before you go to court, what do? You go by, let's see what Supreme Court says. Let's see what Congress, the law says, right? And then you go in from there. Of course, as you guys all well know, which is Juan's argument, is that the courts can always ignore the Supreme Court if they want to, and they may get slapped down by Supreme Court or not. They don't get slapped down. Guess what? The wrong case law sits in there until 20 or 100 years later it gets overturned. Just like we had the case of the slavery case of the man from the South, what's his name, who was a free slave, and the Supreme Court said that, hey, he's not a human being, a man as written by in the U.S. Constitution, Declaration of Independence. So yeah, Supreme Court can be wrong, as you all want to know, that a black man is not a man, right? But the courts are only human beings, gentlemen, and that's something already people figure. I come from Iran already, where the courts are corrupt, the courts are crooked, okay? And one thing that I've seen coming from Iran, we have no freedom, that the judges can be bent political, is that people pretend like the judges in America are just as holy God, perfect human beings, and that's wrong.
Don't you think that's a bit of a convenient thing to say, that the courts, all the courts are corrupt if you end up losing in tax court as a result of this?
I never said all courts are corrupt. Please don't put words.
I didn't say all. I didn't say all court. I didn't say you said that all courts are corrupt, but you seem to imply.
Nope, I don't imply. They don't read any more than what I say. All I'm saying is that the judges are also human beings. They are not, especially in the legal field, like Juan wants to pretend like, oh, judges said that 2 + 2 = 5, so that's it. Supreme Court said it. 2 + 2 is 5. I'm saying, wait a minute. I respect the judges, but judges have, no true power to declare 2 + 2 is 5. But in your case, if they say 2 + 2 is 5, guess what? In your case, 2 + 2 is 5.
Well, let me just say something here.
Yes.
You take issue with the way I brief court decisions and court cases and what applies and what doesn't apply. I think I'm probably the only one here right now who has a certificate of admissions to practice before the Supreme Court of the United States. I've been there several times, and
Okay, fine, Juan, flex on me. What I want you just flexing.
Yeah, so
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I love you, Juan. I love you.
I'm not just dismissing stuff offhandedly. I'm dismissing stuff based on actual reality of the Supreme Court and how to brief a case, how to understand a case, and how to present a case. And that's all I'm saying. There's my bona fides.
Okay, well, Supreme Court is very clear on the issue of taxation. When in doubt, it goes most strongly against the government's power to tax. Not strongly, most strongly. So with that, you gentlemen have no choice to say, unless the Congress you can show specifically, the burden of proof is not on me to prove there's no cheese on the moon, or prove that the average American is not required to file income tax. The burden of proof is on you to show the statute doesn't mean what it says, and the Supreme Court says we have to go by that.
No, what you have to prove for your premise to be true is to show that the what is written in the definitions of includes and including is way beyond what could be considered rational or viable or cheese on the moon. That's the problem you have here, is that in one instance you say one thing, but in the next breath you say something that's inconsistent with that. And that's all I'm saying, is that you would have to prove that if you're going to use Meese or you're going to use Gould, you're going to have to, Meese in particular, you're going to have to prove that what you're challenging in court, or what has been charging you in court, is beyond what is right and should be in favor of the citizen. And I don't think you could do that.
Okay, well, let me answer your other question you said about these definitions. This is
and you have never done it.
Okay, well, I'll show you right now. Fox versus Standard Oil Company, New Jersey, 1935 U.S. Supreme Court case. case. Among the relevant language, this court case about these definitions of rational and reasonable, ordinary man, everybody knows. Here's what the Supreme Court says. Definition by the average man or even by the ordinary dictionary with its studied enumeration of subtle shades of meaning is not a substitute for the definition set before us by the lawmakers. Okay?
Well, I don't think we're disputing that.
There would be little use in such a glossary if we were free in despite of it to choose a meaning for ourselves, which is what you do and want. You say, I know the definition of Congress obviously includes the 50 states that's not listed in there because I don't like what Congress says. It must be what me, the ordinary person, or ordinary dictionary says.
Well, no, actually, that's actually what you're doing. Is you're imparting your definition of includes and including beyond what is written in the statute, and somehow you must be saying that that is wrong, and that according to Meese versus Meese, that's way off base. And I'm saying you cannot prove that in court. That's never been decided in court, and you're just making that statement to support your narrative, but you have no real proof that it's applicable and would be applicable to a challenge under includes and including.
Okay, well, listen, I got to get going, gentlemen. I very much appreciate it already. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on this forum. You know, at the end, everybody has to make their own judgments. They have to make their own decisions, how they want to do things.
I couldn't agree more.
You know, some people like Crispy, Mike Elbay, they want to hate me. You're welcome, Crispy, to do that. You're welcome, Mike Elbay, if you want to do that stuff. And Crispy, if you want to work by character assassination of use upon of injustice by what they say, that's fine. You can do that. Just because the DOJ, you know, has a character assassination about Richard Grant, you know, that's not gospel. So, but if you want to do that, that's fine. It's all there. And I'll tell you one more thing about this that tells you something. I have been filing income tax, regular income tax, and paid income tax for over 28 years. And I've been involved with the litigation with the IRS in their own courts and the tax court and the IRS appeals office, and I have beaten them. Okay?
Wait, have you?
Yep. Yeah, you don't know that? Kick the IRS's butt.
The last thing I have is from 2014, where they ordered you to pay for like 7 years back taxes.
No. Here it is on my screen. Everything is documented there. Number one, I was investigated in 1994, way back then, 27 years ago, as a potential fraudulent tax protester promoter. For after 18 months of investigation, CID gave up on its basis investigation. That was 27 years ago. Victory number 2. There's more, by the way. $700,000 in December 2009. IRS assessed 5 liens on me for 11 years of about $700,000. I went through the process, Juan, and guess what? The IRS appeals office in November 2001 removed in a notice of termination that assessment, and liens were withdrawn, and the tax court also approved that. Victory number 3, IRS in 2003 or older, we don't know, to 2016, they have been looking at me as an abusive tax shelter promoter for at least 13 years, and guess what? They finally closed that baseless investigation in 2016. Documentation is right here. Don't believe me. There's more. I got a case with a criminal, and guess what? IRS has never ever attempted to indict me and put me in prison. I'm the only one in the history of the tax truth movement that the leader had never gone to jail, closed a business long, and they know me. They know me. They could have indicted me. Why did they try to indict me?
I never went to jail, and neither did Vern Holland.
I did like 19 times tonight. Cassandra kept on bringing her up.
Hold on, Ziggy. I have Ziggy, you got a hot mic, man. I have here in front of me Montejeda versus Tax Commissioner Memo 2014-258. whether the Mottahedas are liable for Section 6651A2, additions for tax for failing to pay tax for the tax years 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, and 2006. We hold that they are liable.
That's right. It's on appeal right now. Right now in the Court of Appeal. We're not done. Thank you very much.
The 2014, so your 2014 personal income tax is still under appeal. Actually, well, actually,
no.
And here I have a Mottaheda versus Commissioner 2020 U.S. App Lexus 28786. This was filed in September 10th, 2020. Review the docket demonstrates that the petitioner has failed to file the opening brief in this case. Pursuant to the Ninth Circuit, this appeal is dismissed for failure to prosecute.
That's new. September what?
September 10th, 2020. It's about 7 months ago.
No, that's not true at all. The case is going on.
I highly advise you check the docket.
Okay, all right, I'll bring you mom to show you. Fine, I'll show you. You insist. Let me go to my files and get you my own case, and I show you that case is still in right now, the Ninth Circuit, and we made a motion to transfer that case. I don't know where you got that to. Then right now it's been transferred to the 11th Circuit. Motion be filed. Let me go that.
This is the Ninth Circuit. Based on an appeal or attempted appeal, but apparently.
Yeah, but the case was reinstated. The case is reinstated. You want me to show it to you? I'll be happy to show you. You're not putting yours on the screen, but I'll put this on the screen right now. That the case is going. Hold on. I gotta.
I'm sharing your screen. So.
No, I gotta find it. I gotta find it. Yeah, I gotta find it in my files. Hold on. I do have it here. Give me a minute. I'll put it on the screen. That case is still going on.
Oh, I see this. This was, here we go. From January 23rd, 2020, it was a motion to transfer the appeal to the 11th Circuit. The motion was denied in January 2020. And then they required you to file the opening brief on March 4th, 2020, the answering brief on April 6th, 2020. But apparently they dismissed the matter entirely because you did not file this opening brief. And they dismissed it in September 2020.
No, the case was reinstated, and then had an attorney for a little while, and then he decided to drop off the case, and then the case has been now on the 11th Circuit, and the motion was filed to transfer to the 11th Circuit, and the DOJ lawyer, Curtis Pett is his name, and they said we do not take a position on your motion. He previously opposed it, but not this time. So if you want me to show it to you, I'll be happy to show it to you. Give me a chance.
By all means, no. I'll wait. For sure, I'll wait.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me share. Let me get that. Here we go. It's a right master folder. 106. Yep. Here we go. There we go. I found it. Okay. On my screen, I'm going to enlarge the latest thing that the court filed. Okay. You see that? It says Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. Payment Mottaheda, petitioner versus appellant. Commissioner for Revenue.
Yeah. Where would you like to get those?
Ziggy, hold on a second. Let him respond.
You see a case number? Already see that, right? 19711432, right? So that's the case.
Yep. No, wait. Okay. I have tax court number 22039-11. Okay, yes. Gotcha.
Yes, okay. Now, this is my unopposed motion to transfer the case to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which has not been ruled by the court yet. Okay. Now I'm going to show the previous order, the last order of the court is right here. This is order of court. You cannot deny this one. This is March 23rd, 2021, after what you read, Artie. And you see again in this 9th Circuit, filed March 23, 2021, Payment Mottaheda versus Commissioner for Revenue. Same case number, 19711432. The motion of Peter Gibbons to withdraw as counsel is granted. So as you can see, the case was going on at that time. He was on there, he left, and then I was pro se and made a transfer. So you guys got to be careful. You guys are attorneys, you guys are lawyers. You guys know better than just something from a year ago, assume that's the end of it, when I'm telling you I found something.
Well, I mean, I would imagine that the docket would be updated by then, but apparently it was. But what is that order is simply saying that the defense attorneys, the opening brief is due June 1st, the answering brief is due July 1st, the optional brief is due within 21 days of the brief.
That's right. Yep, and that's it basically. The rest is just, clerk the court signing. So what happens that before June 1st, the opening brief was due, as I've shown you, timely motion was made. Let me bring it back up. Timely motion was made to transfer case to the 11th Circuit, where we live in Florida now, where I was in California back then, and it's pending for the court. The government didn't oppose it because he told me, we don't take a position. We're not going to oppose it. They're waiting right now for it. It right there says it, for the court to grant it. So you see, Guardian, I'm very thankful for you attempting to get into things deeper, as opposed to some people that Ziggy that seem to politically hate me and want to just throw hearsay out there, like the Department of Injustice's hearsay about the Richard Grant case to judge me and stuff like that. If you want to get the truth, Ziggy, I'll give it to you. But please, how about the American tradition of innocent until proven guilty? Not this thing like in Iran where you're guilty, you got to prove your innocence. Okay, give me a chance. I'll explain everything to you. What else do you guys want to know? You want to know about Richard Grant? I'll be happy to tell you guys. You don't want to know about it?
Well, I think we know that he went to prison for tax evasion. Yes.
Yes. What happened with Richard Grant is this. Richard Grant stopped filing income tax before me with other people. He did other stuff, like, so he did a bunch of letters he wrote to some, an attorney, somebody else about their opinion about income tax type of thing, way before he came to me. So he joined later on, came to Freedom Law School. Okay, no problem. I'm here to teach you. Number one, already what I do is I teach, just like you saw. I always tell everybody, do not believe in anything me or the government says. Go read the law for yourself and read it as is written in there. That's what I always tell everybody.
Well, with all due respect, aren't people paying you $9,000 so that you could provide them with the correct information?
That's for the first year. After that, it's $4,000 a year.
Then $4,500 a year. Aren't people paying you so that you could provide them with the information, that they don't have to do all this research for themselves?
No, more than no. I do teach it. No, hold on. I teach him about the U.S. Constitution, our system of government and laws. Laws are made. And for example, look at this on your screen right now. This is a class I did way back in 2002, Artie, 19 years ago, in Orange County Law Library in Santa Ana, California in 2002, which I showed people. I physically went in there, and you can see me with the younger hair, how to use a law library. I put a bunch of books right there, and I showed you this is what the law book looks like. Here it is, you see? Show them exactly what the law books are. You see, that's what I do, Artie. Not this character assassinations that the U.S. Department of Injustice does to people, okay? I be showing people, look up the law, don't believe me, don't believe the government.
With all due respect, I don't think that's teaching somebody how to use a law library is worth $4,500.
Well, I never claimed that. Please don't put words in my mouth. I never claimed that. Please don't put words in my mouth.
But I guess what I'm asking is like, what are your clients getting by paying $4,500 for your services when you are ultimately saying, don't believe me or the government? What am I paying you for?
I'll tell you. First of all, they're paying my students. There's multiple things, not one thing. Besides getting educated, besides being able to verify the laws for themselves from primary sources, like I've done, besides writing petitions to Congress to have them stop this misapplication of income tax by the IRS and the U.S. Department of Injustice crooked lawyers. Okay. Besides that, I give them unlimited consultation, unlimited letter writing response. In other words, if they want to get a CPA, you have to pay me $100, $200 an hour to help you. Want to get a tax attorney? You have to pay me $300, $600, or $1,000 an hour to help you. Well, that could run into hundreds of thousands of dollars or more, but guess what? The field law school, they don't pay none of that. They pay the flat membership fee, and any and all responses, IRS appeals, tax court, any tax situation that things come up is done at no extra charge. You will not find anybody else in America provide a flat rate freedom tax help. We're in the system filing income tax or not. I'm the only one that able to do that because the law is a side of the American people are not required to file income tax. So that doesn't answer your question. Oh, if they want to put him in prison, I'll pay their attorney's fees also, which could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Field law school will pay that also. Does that answer your question?
I guess that's gonna be as good as I'm gonna get. But I agree with you. It's 11:40 over here, so I guess we'll have to wrap up. But I do want to thank you for coming in. This was completely unexpected. It was definitely not expected, but I appreciate it nonetheless for you being able to come on and and talk with us. So I absolutely hats off to you for that. Juan Galt, I want to thank you for for coming in and talking with me. Ziggy, you still got a hot mic, but I appreciate you coming in and putting in some information for us to take a look at. But I think we're going to wrap it up here. But I want to thank you guys again for coming in.
You're welcome. All right, let me ask you. I've never heard about you. With all fairness, are you an attorney? Well, what kind of law do you practice if you do?
Oh, I practice regulatory compliance. I'm licensed in New York and New Jersey.
May I have your full name so I can look you up online or your website or something? I'm just curious to learn more about you. Just like you were curious to learn more about me. That's all. May I do that?
Well, you can look up my channel. RD's Corporate Fiction is there, and you can check out my videos from there and see what I'm about. Sure.
So on the top left, that picture of a guy with a beard and red shirt.
Yep,
is
that's
that
me.
I click to find out more about you? That's you. So I click on that because I have used this and I can find more about you.
Sure.
Well, I want to thank you, Artie, for really trying your best and doing actually a pretty good job of getting both sides at least air their views. That unfortunately it does not happen in America, where people are censored and not allowed to speak their side at all. I appreciate the opportunity to do so. And Juan, despite our disagreements we had, my friend, I still love you, and I appreciate you trying to be doing a good thing for people. I appreciate you for all the decades that you're out there fighting in the court system for justice, and for the American people. Sometimes we may agree or disagree, but I'd like to suggest you could do it in the future if you can, please, with respect and without character assassinations.
Well, I want to apologize if you've interpreted anything of my saltness as being derogatory. It's kind of just the way I talk, not when I'm in court, but I'm not in court. And I'm an old fart, and I'm retired, and I've got a lot of battle scars, so I apologize for that. But I do respect you for coming in here and stating your position. I think that takes a lot of guts to go on a stream, a live stream, and do that. So I appreciate you very much also, Payman. I do want you to know that. I just try to, because of my past, now I try to correct people that I see going down a wrong path of interpreting or laws and statutes and things like that. So I just feel kind of compelled to make corrections to that. It's nothing personal at all. There's, but I do want to say that still yet, you haven't proven with any evidence that the including the way you are interpreting it is correct. That's all I wanted to say. So thanks again.
Thank you,
Artie and Payman.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much, and you guys have a good night. Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Woo! All right, guys. So that was fun. I did not expect to have a second discussion in one night. Look, guys, I was originally going to fucking play Dark Souls 3. All right, And I honestly feel like I would have had a much more relaxing night playing Dark Souls 3 than dealing with what I just dealt with. So, holy shit. And I know I'm missing so many fucking super chats. I apologize. So let me go through them really quick. Nathan, I know you're referring to the previous discussion that I had. $5. What channel were those nut jobs from? It was like he was like Supreme Chief something or another was that channel. I'm sure you found out what it was. Mike Ingalls, $10. Hey, Artie, good stream with the Moore stuff. Now I kind of understand why they are the way they are a bit more. I just don't agree with them in the least. Cat Attack, $10. You deserve this for putting up with that BS. I know you meant that to attack, punish me for that nonsense. Kick, I mentioned that. Thank you very much for the tip. Much appreciated. Pocket watching with JT, $4.99. This man is talking gibberish and it's driving me crazy. People will actually believe this trash. Like I said, I wish I put a link in there, JT. I would love to do a collaboration with you on some of these tax protesters one of these days. So if you're still watching, JT, if you check out this VOD, please, I would love to get in touch with you on doing a collaboration. Tread, $4.99. I'm convinced already. No need for more nonsense. Kick, $30. Oh, and put this towards the mouse I assisted with breaking. You did not need to do that, Kick. You asshole. I'm charging back your money. Philosopher King Gaming, $5. Freedom, you're not wrong because you're an idiot. You're wrong because the facts show you to be so. Separately, you're an idiot and a fraud. Ziggy for the facts, $5. The section he is using is for federal unemployment. Samoa, Mariana's not included because they have their own government. Nathan, $5. Why is he stuck in 1913? Your guess is as good as mine. Andrew, $10. My cat understands more than this guy. If Congress can do whatever they want, then why can't they tax your ass? I mean, yeah. Thomas, EG1, $5 for aspirin for Artie. I will definitely be needing that. Hold on, Freedom. Oh, sure. I'll just give him a freaking link to my channel. There you go. New tab here, and then here. All right. Ass tax. Yeah, I know, right? Stephen Alley, $2. There wasn't 50 states when they wrote it in 1913. No, in 1913, I think there was like 45 states. Because I think Arizona and a couple of Mountain West states were still territories in the early 1900s, right? I think. Because wasn't John McCain born when Arizona was still a territory? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Arizona's 1912. Okay, I think I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind. Agent of the Matrix, $5. Enjoy jail, freedom law school, hashtag Juan Galt, legal badass 2024. And Jeremy Edens, $4.99. I'm glad to see some people who disagree can be respectful instead of screaming so loud that the mic is clipping. Yeah, it's kind of I'm glad we were able to have a relatively civil discussion, especially as compared to that insanity that I dealt with several hours before. So, whew. Meanwhile, I got a prescription to help with my fucking poison ivy, which still hasn't been resolved yet. I need to take some medication for that, and I think I'm gonna end it here. I think I'm done, guys. This is a long evening. I was not able to play any video games tonight. I was supposed to not even do any live streams tonight And I did 2 in a row. I just wanted to play some fucking Dark Souls or Battlefield. I wanted to talk about the new Battlefield Portal for 2042. I wanted to talk about the Dead Space remake, but no. I just had to torture myself by talking to alleged Aborigines, and then talk about the income tax code, because that's fucking exciting. Am I right, guys? Hashtag air horns. And I still got work in the morning. Luckily, I get to work from home tomorrow. Agent of the Matrix, $2. You brought this on yourself. I mean, yes, you're right. I didn't need to do this. I didn't have to do this. This was my own volition. Sean Hawkins play. Who the hell is Buff Corell? Ow. Ugh. What the fuck? No, I'm not doing that. Oh, I know he's still in the voice chat, but I'm out of the voice chat, so that's why you're not hearing anybody. All right, guys, you have a good night. I'm going to take my medication, and maybe I can get around a Battlefield before I call it a night. Have a good night, guys. Thank you again for watching. Thank you all for your support. Agent of the Matrix, $5. No, you did the right thing. You give us more info on these people that we can use with others. I mean, yeah, but still, this was a lot for me. I need rest. I needed to nerd out and take a breather. Thank you guys. Thank you again, Juan. Take care. Have a good night. And Sean, I'll be looking forward to your drone when it's fully completed, man. See ya.